Have you ever felt like your players are bulldozing through your campaign? Like you try to use the challenge rating system in D&D 5e and it just doesn't click, or it just doesn't apply to your party? Well, this video is for you, because I'm going to be discussing my theories on how the challenge rating system in D&D 5e works. Now you may be thinking,
Isn't that already explained in the monster manual?
sort of, but there's some key caveats that I want to provide to you that come with experience. And also you probably need to understand the math of it so that you can design your own stuff. From the wording in the monster manual, a challenge rating should be a measure of how challenging a monster should be for your party to defeat, depending on their level and their size. The entry specifically calls out that each challenge rating is based on a party of 4 adventurers. It also gives you some hard and fast rules on how to dish out XP for each kind of monster that you kill. The basic idea, though, is that challenge rating should correspond to level. So, for example, a CR1 creature could be defeated by 4 level 1 party members at a medium challenge with 0 deaths. Now, this usually begs the question, how do they know that? And the answer is math. Don't worry, I'm not good at it either. But probably the most fundamental math that we have to do this is damage versus health pool. If you wanted to mathematically balance an equation, you would try to make it the same on both sides. So it stands to reason that a CR1 creature's total health would be equal to the combined health total of 4 level 1 adventuring party members. Now, if you've read any part of the monster manual, you would know that this doesn't usually hold true. Monsters of a CR1 challenge rating, for example, could have many different kinds of health pool totals and never exactly work out to that exact amount. And that brings us to our next question. What else besides health can alter that equation? Now, obviously, we haven't talked about damage yet, and this is going to be our second component. The 2 parts of damage are armor class, which is how likely you are to hit, and the amount of damage that your weapon does to the health pool. If you've seen enough of Matt Colville's videos, you'll know that a d20 works in increments of 5% chance. So for example, if someone's bonus to attack is +0, and the target's armor class is 10, that would mean that that person has a 50% chance, approximately, to roll the die high enough to be able to hit that creature's armor class. Remember, we're still operating on meets it beats it. And since having a 50% chance would make the chance equal of hitting or missing, we've technically balanced the equation once again. So a good rule of thumb is to take a look at your player's 2-hit attack bonus, whether that being melee or spell attacks, average that out, and then make whatever creature they're fighting's armor class equal to 10 plus that attack bonus. Now, of course, this is where flavor comes in. There are different types of monsters, there are different types of challenges that you can put against a party. So that means if you want your monster to be harder to hit, you could raise the AC and lower the health total. Or you could lessen the AC and increase the health total. You see where I'm going with this? Let's think about damage now. If we give our characters a 50% chance to hit, we are going to need to make sure that the total damage output of the party that is possible during a turn is equal to the total damage output of your monster or monsters that you are facing against them. If we look at all the dice we use for damage, there are only 6. And the average total damage of those would be about 6, because usually people have a +1 or +2 bonus. That's why we have standard array, by the way. So that means if your party is doing about 12 damage per turn, your monster or monsters need to do about the same to the party. Now, when we talk about dealing that damage is when we start to talk about action economy. Action economy is the term that simply refers to how many times your players get to hit the monster versus how many times your monster gets to hit the players. Now, if we're stuck with a 50-50% chance to hit for your players, it stands to reason that maybe your monster should just take 4 attacks, just like the players do. But you may also see that that is not the case when you look at monsters of lower levels or lower CRs. And that's because usually your monster's total damage output is based on the average output from the players. This is for a number of reasons, including the fact that your players can take actions other than attacking, and will most likely do something else if they need to, for example, heal one of the party members, or drag an obstacle out of the way. Also, since your monster, if it's a solo monster, is that much better at fighting, then they're probably going to have a higher to-hit chance, or do more damage on a hit than a single player would anyway. But this is where things get fuzzy, and I would need a whole nother video to explain the statistics of it, because I don't know them exactly myself. The other thing that has to do with this is obviously status effects, things like being prone or restrained, being poisoned, being confused, etc. The way those effects interact with our encounter equation is simple. Does the player get a chance to attack? Does the monster get a chance to attack or not? Is it easier for them to make that attack, or is it harder, etc.? And also, obviously, did it work or not? Now, to do all this math, you could technically convert it all to probability in terms of how likely are they to roll X on a d20 and make this happen. But my advice is, when you get that granular, it's easier to just get a sense for it yourself. Also, the magic system in spells can be a useful reference for what status effects are effective at certain levels, because players only have access to certain spells at certain levels. But that's just a theory. You can play however you want.